Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another Thursday night live stream on the Fish Room Fever channel. I am, of course, Fish Room Fever with my buddy, my pal, my co-host, Chattanooga Ed, and our special guest tonight, Rack from the Bird Garden YouTube channel. How about that? We haven't.
I'm pumped to be here.
In a while. Oh, we're glad to have you. When it was, mentioned regarding you coming on, I was like, yes, absolutely, let's do it, brother. Because
me too. Yeah, good idea.
So
listen. I talked to these guys before the show. You guys are in for a treat. Well, you know that. You show up every week. I didn't want to let them go live. We were having such a good time backstage.
Absolutely. So I know we've got John is probably still talking given the current viewer amount. So real quick before we dive into it and we get to some Q&A with Rack here at Bird Garden YouTube channel, I want to say thank you to Rico Stan for the $5 super chat. I will say I'm planning that we'll have some technical difficulties tonight because I've got my Rico Stan shirt on. So anytime that happens, oh yeah, I love it. And it's one of the most comfortable materials. I'm kind of jealous that all my shirts aren't this material. But it seems to go hand in hand with technical difficulties. But thank you, Rico, for the $5 super chat. And he said, Big Bellies Unite. That's coming from John at KG Tropicals had made up a username talking about comments. It's like Big Belly 1269. And Rico and I are like, what's wrong with Big Bellies? So
right on.
Here we go. Big Bellies Unite. Thank you for that, Rico, very, very much. I will also share with you all, and I'll mention this again later as people start to roll on in. You'll notice that there is a pinned comment when you come in. I generally don't do that, but this was something I felt was very, very important. I wanted to share with you all. One of the members of our fish fam, Sandy Dowdy, she helps with a dog sanctuary, and that dog sanctuary was actually destroyed by Hurricane Nora. So we have got a GoFundMe link pinned in the chat. And that's why you're seeing that. I'm not a huge fan of those. They annoy me when I go into chat and there's a pinned message, but this was something important enough I felt like we needed to throw that up there. So if you can help, by all means, click on that link. I will say anything that you would like to do to help that dog sanctuary, if you would make any donations for that directly through the PayPal, or not PayPal, the GoFundMe for them, and not super chat it. Just because super chats, YouTube takes a good sized portion, which is fine. But they're also delayed significantly on when that gets paid out. So I would rather not be accountable for a month from now, remembering that $6.32 needs to go to the dog sanctuary from a super chat. So we can get them the funds a lot quicker and more efficiently if we just use their GoFundMe link. But, all right, 32 people. There we go. I found my chat again. So Rack,
yes,
Bird
sir.
Garden.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we talked. I don't think we've had you on here since before the Bird Garden channel was had come to fruition.
We've crossed paths and said, hey, let's get together and talk. And it's like, yeah, let's do that. And never happened. So here we are.
Absolutely. So I know we've got some people in here that are not familiar names. And I will say the link for the Bird Garden YouTube channel is in the description. And I'm sure the mods will be posting it as well.
Thank you.
Please check him out. That's something that's really fun to watch. It's really relaxing. But before I get too much into that, for anybody that doesn't know you and is maybe not familiar with your story and why we're here talking birds today on the Fish Channel, just a little bit about yourself and how you got to the point of where you are in life and fish tube, bird tube, that type of thing.
I'm a naturalist, so fairly general. But my first connection to nature that I remember as a child was a guppy bowl that my mom kept. I was 4 years old. And then when I was 8 years old, I got my first aquarium as a birthday gift. When I was 13, I upgraded to a 29-gallon. I had the biggest tank in the neighborhood. I thought it was really special. I worked my first job at a tropical fish store. I went on to have my own pet store. And I didn't have a storefront, and I specialized in birds and reptiles. And just had a great time telling people about these creatures that I loved, and it made my life better. I figured it would make everyone else's life better. Absolutely. So I tried to make my world accessible to anyone else who wanted to share the enjoyment I got from nature. And I think I figured out at a pretty young age, whatever it is you enjoy, you can enjoy it more with friends and people with similar interest. So I've kind of pursued all of that my entire life. And so here we are. I started watching birds on purpose when I was 10 years old. And none of these affections I have for nature or in particular organisms that have gone away. The birds are easier to keep because you don't have to feed them or clean up after them if you don't want to. God takes care of them pretty good. And they're everywhere. They're just everywhere. It's all about the birds, I say. And the fish, you have a little bit more control over what fish you get to look at. You go to the store and you buy them and you put them in your glass box with water, and you get to take care of them and watch them grow. So that's a lot of fun. This pond now, you guys may be aware of the Pond Life YouTube channel, formerly River Life. That's how I started on YouTube. The pond is an outdoor enclosure for my koi that I love, but it also attracts a lot of wild birds and is also home to lots of aquatic plants and marginal plants. So it really kind of ties it all together. And in a nutshell, that's kind of the evolution of Bird Garden. And now the Bird Garden YouTube channel is anchored by a 24/7 live stream of our bird feeding station, which has drawn over 80 different species. I live in a suburb. Okay. I got a neighbor 10 feet that way, a neighbor 10 feet that way. And it's a postage stamp yard, but we're in the East Tennessee, the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. We've attracted over 80 species of birds in our little suburban postage stamp yard. And I don't say that to brag completely. I say that to encourage you. If you want to attract birds to your yard, you probably can.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's very good to know. I'm kind of a little jealous, but I'm also afraid that my cats would just see it as their new feeding post. But now, what is
Ginger?
So if somebody was going, oh, Bird Garden, okay, I'll probably check that out. What would they expect to see if they go over there and look at that? Are we talking about watching your canary in a cage, or what's the experience?
Great question. Great question. Bird Garden is a bird and a garden, typically outdoors, not in the aviary, not enclosed, totally wild birds. And I've become quite the nature photographer and videographer. I don't know that, again, that's an evolution. I never did that before YouTube. So once I learned how to make a video, edit the video, publish a video, it was like, oh, I'm doing this with fish. Guess what? I could do it with birds with a little tweaking of the equipment. So yeah, they're wild birds. They're attracted to my water feature and my bird feeding station. And then there are also some videos on the Bird Garden channel about places I go to bird. And I don't want to say too much. I don't want to make too many promises. And then it's like, hey, I thought you were going to do this and you didn't do it. In due time, I'll be doing instructional videos. There's one up on the channel now, how to attract birds to your yard in less than 1 minute, which I think is very useful, much like the Pond Life YouTube channel, the Aquarium. If you've got a 5-gallon bucket, you can have an aquarium, and I show you how in that video.
And both of those are great videos.
Thanks.
I enjoyed both of
those. They were beneficial to me. They made everything simple and accessible. I'm all about that. So yeah, the birds are all wild. I've got the bird feeding station. I've got how-to videos, and I've got a slew of short videos, 15 seconds on individual species. So here's a promise, James and Ed, to Fish Room Fever viewers. If you'll give me a minute of your time and watch 4 of my 15-second bird videos, it will make your life better.
Absolutely.
At the very least, you're going to get rid of a lot of stress in that 1 minute. It's a complete distraction, non-threatening, safe environment, very family friendly. And some of those birds are just really ornate. And when you get a close-up view of them, I tell people that are new to bird watching, the world of magnification is a beautiful world.
Absolutely.
So give me a minute, watch 4 of those 15-second videos and see if your life isn't better.
Definitely. And I also would say I think it will be. I am a huge fan of your live bird feeder, your feeds there that go.
Thanks, man.
I like to put those on kind of in the background almost. It's almost kind of like sitting next to a window when you're trying to do something, just to have that relaxing, meditative, however you want to phrase it. So I like to have the live bird feeder thing going if I'm at the computer, maybe making a thumbnail or doing something like that. Almost as though it's a window in my house so that I can just kind of look out.
Exactly. Well, that's what we had in mind. Thank you for saying that, James, and for tuning in. I do it in my house. The big screen TV in the living room, bird feeding station all day.
Love it.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Now, I'm going to roll through the chat here real quick and take some highlighted questions and comments and say some thank yous for the super chats here. Let's see. T-Bone's Fishy says, good day. Good day to you, T-Bone. Appreciate you being here. Tim Kendrick saying, hey, guys. What's going on, Tim? Appreciate you hanging out. RB Animals Rescue says, hello, hello. Good to see you. Paul Stero saying, please don't egg Rico on. I try not to, Paul. I try not to. Maria Z with $5 super chat says, so good to see you guys and so happy to finally make a live stream. Maria, it's great to see you. Super chat
Maria.
not required, but thank you so much for that support. Very much appreciated. And it's just great to see you around. I hope you're doing well. I hope the Plecos are doing well. I hope everything's doing well for you. Thank you for being here. What's going on, Scuba Steve? Jimmy P's Aquarium says, greetings to Bird Garden. And of course, James and Ed. Jimmy P, thanks for being here, my friend. Rico mentions Rico's involved in a lot of things. Mm-hmm. So Rico's kind of the newest member of the Fish Room Fever family of channels, if you will. He does Thursday night streams after Ed. And he says you're going to be on his Focus On stream next Tuesday.
He's the one who woke me from hibernation.
All right.
He did. And then we were able to schedule your show before his.
You never know. Hey,
way to go, Rico.
When you said let's do it, I was like, come on, Thursday. First available opportunity.
Great. Love it.
Blue Rhino Game says, hi, sorry I was not able to come to the last two streams. Was camping and had very bad service. Blue Rhino Games, no worries. I'm glad to see you. Welcome back. I hope you had a great time camping. Curious to see what kind of birds maybe you got to see while you were out there. You never know. Love being out in nature. So,
or rhinoceros.
Had fun. Yeah. Hey, maybe. Daniel Velez says, hello, everyone. Hope all are well, safe, and healthy. Hello, Fish Room Fever, Ed, and Bird Garden. Well, Daniel, appreciate you being here, and hello to you. All right. So I will say, we will, of course, still take fish questions. This is not just a bird guy. He's a very knowledgeable fish keeper, been doing it pretty much all his life, But bird questions are great as well. If you're curious about, bird watching or, like you mentioned, trying to set up a bird station, because I think it's amazing that you're in a postage stamp yard, as you put it, in a suburb, and yet you get all of these different species. I honestly didn't realize that was your location. I was thinking you had a little bit more wilderness surrounding you.
And when I lived on the river, I had acres of riverfront property that was fantastic. And then when I moved here, that's why we built the pond. I was no longer river life when we became pond life.
Absolutely. And I can appreciate that and I can understand that. I think that's really amazing that you can draw that many species into a local suburb. Let's see. We've got Aquatic Marine. Kenny, thank you for the $20 super sticker with that Woot gaming controller. I appreciate it, Kenny. I hope you're doing well. I talked to you yesterday. I hope a speedy recovery for you on that knee surgery.
When you get down in chat to KG Tropical's comment.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. Understand. Not a whisper from John. He acts like he was shaking the thunder out of me, not a whisper.
Absolutely. I've got two to grab before that, but I do see that. Pompey Ranch with $2 super sticker with the cool exercise pair. I appreciate that, Pompey. I hope you're doing well. And TJ Autocross with $10 super chat says, just saying thanks for all you do to make Thursday night fun and educational. TJ, thank you so much for that. Not just the super chat, the support, but also the kind words. That's always been and hopefully will always be my thing. And if it's not, I need to get off YouTube as just to bring value through education, entertainment, and hopefully you get a little bit of both every week. But thank you so much for that. Do very much appreciate it. There it is. KG Tropical says, so Rico Stan can wake up Rack from hibernation, but I can't.
Not a tickle.
Oh, goodness gracious. I don't know. John may be a little bit upset that I got you on here before he did.
I didn't realize that you were like in a normal neighborhood.
Yeah.
When that bear showed up, was that in a normal neighborhood?
Sure was. And he raided several bird feeders in the neighborhood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you in competition with those guys?
Man, Ed, you really put me on the spot right there. Because the answer is no. However, when I go by and see any of my neighbors' bird feeders empty, I'm glad.
Mm-hmm. Well, I try to make sure that I've got the best stuff going on. You know, I got the hummingbird, the suet, and the feed.
Well, you're telling secrets now. That's the way to go. Add a water feature in there, and you win.
Oh.
I promise.
I got a couple of those.
You win. Splashing water, the birds can't stay away.
So I don't want to give away all of your tips. I would say people should go watch your video on how to attract birds in 1 minute.
Now go for it. Go for it.
Well, I was just going to ask you, what would maybe the top 3 things, or just a couple things to entice people?
Well, I saw someone in chat mention several things. So, the food, water feature, shelter, a place to hide, a place to breed, a place to nest. All of those things are attractive to birds. That can be done with vegetation, trees. I would say to someone wanting to attract bird, the easiest thing to do is to put out some water. And if in the video I give some tips, I've used bucket lids. You got a 5-gallon bucket lid, fill the top of it with water. It's got that little lip. Put a rock in the middle of it, keeps it from getting knocked or blown around, gives the birds a place to land, get a drink, take a little bath. I would try that, and you may not get a bird in 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Give them a minute to find and acclimate and get in there. Keep that thing clean. If you put a rock in it, you can take your water hose and just spray it out. It's so shallow, you don't even have to tip it. That's a big one that really works. Also, a feeding station can be just as simple. You can put food on the ground. You can put it on a piece of plastic. You can put it in a bird feeder. And this is the biggest tip that I'll give tonight. Based on my experience, and hey, I'm just a guy on the internet, lots and lots of bird experience. We'll talk about it as we go, but black oil sunflower seeds are available at every outlet that sells bird feed.
Okay.
The old black oil sunflower seeds, if you don't use anything else, that will attract, I will say, more species than any other single food. And the birds will come and eat it. And sometimes you may get a flock of starlings. The common blackbird, is lots of folks call them, and you may think they're a nuisance or you don't want them around. But just as there are dither fish, there are dither birds. Okay. And if you got dither birds, then desirable birds are watching. So the water and any kind of container you already have, and food, black oil, sunflower seeds. And then if you can provide some sort of shelter or housing, put up a bird box. Those are readily available at big box stores. I see now they're making a lot of money off of the bird watchers. If you've got, I've seen some people drape a tarp over a fence just to make some shade, plant a shrub that gives birds not only branches up in the foliage, but also a little bit of cover under the shrub on the ground. Those things attract birds. And birds are so common, we take them for granted. I mean, I would ask you guys, how many birds do you see a day? I don't know. Well, then can you think of a day you've never seen a bird?
Absolutely. That's a very valid point. I don't know that I can.
Yeah. And so then the thing is, and this is a slippery slope, and I don't apologize. I think you're going to like it if it happens. You start paying attention to the birds.
Yeah.
And then you learn that they're different colors and they're different sizes. They have different behaviors. And if you dare learn the name of a bird, if you learn its name, common name, you're going to have a relationship with that bird now. And you'll know it, and you'll call it when you see it. And most people that I talk to, I'm not a birder. I don't know any about, I'm going to say the average American adult will know over 20 birds. I don't know if we've had that conversation or not, James.
I don't think that we have.
I think Ed and I may have touched on it one time, but we know 20. We know the crow, we know turkey, we know Canada goose, mallard. When we start talking about birds, hey, you know what? I do know some birds. Definitely. Robin. Yeah. So I say that it makes your life better, and I'm not kidding. It actually makes your life better. I think that's why I got so deep and have established such longevity in appreciating the birds. so many similarities in fish keeping.
Oh, and that's what I was going to say. We've recently talked about more the fish keeper side of the hobby and why a lot of us have come to the hobby in terms of stress and anxiety and things of that nature. And I really feel like what you're doing with the bird watching and the Bird Garden YouTube channel with that live feeding station view, it really ties into that. It's a very nice, calming, stress relieving thing. It's just downright enjoyable. You also do that with your koi ponds on the Pond Life channel as well. You've got some really nice stuff.
Yeah, that Pond Life has gone the extra mile to say, hey, tired and weary, come on over to this channel and relax. Just turn it on and relax. Let the worries of the day go someplace else. And you asked me about attracting birds. That's a slippery slope too. It's a never-ending discovery. It's fantastic. If you go to the live stream, 24/7 live stream on Bird Garden channel, that feeding station you see, it's the culmination. It would be like version 1000 something. I have gone through iteration after iteration of bird feeding stations. And this one, it has a food that deters bears. Ed, you know that we have to have that. And it has enough different food to attract an incredible diversity of birds. And it looks symmetrical when framed for a YouTube live stream.
It is a very nice setup. Oh, no, I was just commenting on how much I enjoyed it. It's very aesthetically pleasing.
Now, how do you keep the squirrels away?
Same way I keep the bears away. And this isn't necessary. It's not necessary. Some people love having the squirrels come to. They have squirrel feeders. I'm not anti-squirrel. I got a bird channel. I'm trying to provide birds for people to watch, not mammals. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. But I use food. And this, I'm going to name a company name here. Not sponsored, no affiliation whatsoever. Just the one I use. Wild Birds Unlimited pepper-infused food. So the mammals hate it. I've had raccoons, squirrels, bears, rats, rabbits, you name it. Neighborhood vermin have been at my bird feeder. They discover that I use pepper-infused food, and they go away, and they tell their friends.
And they go visit your neighbors and empty out those bird feeders.
That's an unintended benefit.
Comment. No, absolutely. So we've got a question here from Daniel Velez. Says, Bird Garden, my wife asked for 2 feeding stations like yours. I surprised her with them this week.
All right.
So maybe not a question, but an awesome comment. Says, we love watching the birds. My grandson is starting to count the number of birds he sees.
That's awesome.
Very, very
That's
cool.
awesome. There are several citizen science opportunities available from Cornell University.
Oh, wow.
I think they're issued through eBird, Backyard Feeder Watch, Backyard Birds, that have lots of information, educational, free online resources. I just want to throw that out there if anybody wants to get involved in any citizen science, bird counts, data collecting, and it's very user-friendly. You don't have to be an expert by any means.
Well, that is awesome. That's good to know. I wasn't aware of that in the slightest, so I appreciate you sharing that with us. Triple J Aquatics said, what's everyone's favorite local bird? I'll go first. The painted bunting. So that's a question I have for you now. Thank you for that question, Triple J. What would your favorite bird be?
No, I knew this question was coming, and so here's the answer. And this is going to make everyone disappointed, but it's just a fact. Because you asked, I'm just going to tell you, it's the bird I'm looking at. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I can't see a painted bunting every time I want to, only when they show up where I'm at.
Right.
Some birds I like to see more than others. But if I'm looking at a bird, it's my favorite. Now,
Not me. If it's a blue jay, I just shake my fist at it.
And we need to get rid of that hate and discontent toward blue jays.
They're beautiful, but I hate them.
People fly across oceans to see that bird.
Oh,
they're so
they bring
smart.
tourist money.
Chattanooga benefits from having so many blue jays. I guess Dayton does too.
Well, there you go. The Zen Ginger would like to know, Rack, is that another red-winged blackbird painting behind you?
Yeah, it is. That was in the art show for River Life Art.
Very nice.
Yeah. So yeah, she knows. She knows. I've said this on Facebook. That is one of my favorite birds. A 10-year-old kid looking out a bedroom window saw one of those land on a sunflower that my grandmother had painted, and I was hooked. What is
Very
that?
Now, what's their other name? Is it Admiral Bird?
What's that?
Bird? The Red Wing Blackbird. It has another name, like the Admiral Bird or the.
I don't know. So
it's a military one because of the little things that they used to wear.
The epaulets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, so this is unique to birds. This is cool. I hope we can stay entertaining while we're being educational. I don't want to be dry, but the common birds are named, and I guess scientifically named with a common name by a group called the American Ornithologists Union, and they convene to discuss what is the proper common name. Because when we go to discover new organisms and catalog biota in general, we go out of, I guess, the American Ornithological Union territory, wherever that may be, and we find that a bird has 6 or 8 common names, and it becomes very difficult without the scientific name to categorize them. So we have an official list of common names. I don't think that's true of fish, tropical fish, or plants.
No.
But the birds have an entire Congress that meets to discuss what is the proper common name. And I'll tell you a story about how they came into play. The Baltimore Oriole. Anybody heard of a Baltimore Oriole?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a Major League Baseball team that has the same name. When I started keeping birding records, that was 1999, 2000. Right along that time, the official common name of the Baltimore Oriole changed to the Northern Oriole. It was what they called a split. The Baltimore Oriole was split into 2 different groups. And so Major League Baseball wasn't happy. We're not changing our name to the Northern Order. Now it looks like instead of honoring a beautiful bird we have up here in Maryland, that we've got this cartoon fictional character. So the rumor has it, they contacted the American Ornithologists Union and demanded that they change the name back to Baltimore Oriole, and they did. So now it's officially the Baltimore Oriole again. Now, actually, they decided that the birds were genetically alike and different enough to ratify the name Baltimore Oriole. So there was some science. It wasn't just a petition from Major League Baseball, but I thought it was really neat how mainstream got involved with ornithology and bird science on that one.
Absolutely, that is awesome.
Orioles are amazing in person too. They're one of the most striking birds. They're awesome.
Definitely.
And your life is different after you see one. I see Melissa Jeswald says, I have Baltimore Orioles all over here.
Oh, that's
lucky
awesome.
You.
Very nice. So she's actually also. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
No, I'm done.
Well, sorry about that. I was just saying, Melissa Jeswald was also the next super chat up on the list there. She had a $10 super chat.
All right.
This one rotates back around to fish, but I guess a good segue to that is I feel like if we had a list of approved common names in fish keeping, that would go a long way, because we have a lot of the same issues with, well, this thing's got 10 different common names. What's the scientific name?
Oh, yeah.
So I feel like that's a wonderful idea, and I'm glad that
it's a great idea, but holy cow, the energy it takes to organize that.
Yeah, that's everything. It's always, here's an idea, but who's going to run with this thing, you know?
Well, we could get Carrie, Science Gal, to help us.
There you go. But Melissa Jeswell, thank you for the $10 super chat. She says, I have 4 tanks full of guppy/endler crosses. I'm thinking of a predator fish to thin them out, but I only have 2 20 gallons, a 10-gallon, and a 5-gallon, all planted. Ideas, ? The betta isn't eating them. So, with the betta not eating them, I'm trying to think of
What
something that would go good in that size.
What's she trying to get thinned out?
Guppy inlard crosses.
Hmm.
'Cause normally, my go-to is angelfish, but that's a little small of a tank for the angelfish.
Yeah, but you could get like a 40 and just throw them into the angels. You could get like a couple of angels and just feed them nothing but inlars.
You could. Now, Ed, that's right along the lines of, and I know you don't have anything that you throw in to predate on your guppies, but that's about the tank sizes that you keep, or a lot of 20s and whatnot.
Yeah.
What do you think about maybe a larger live bearer species? Maybe like having a couple of mollies or something in there, something that's got a bigger mouth that could take those fry out.
I don't think they will.
They won't. Okay.
My mollies wouldn't. I have a couple mollies in a tank. I just like, I have a 40 breeder right now that has 2 Bichers. They're about to go into 75. Yeah. But that's where guys with bent spines go. And they don't make it through the night. They always seem to disappear. So
absolutely. Yeah. I use a lot of other fish to cull things out or thin things out, but typically not in that size of a tank. Melissa, I'll keep putting some thought into that. Of course, my natural response would be a fish that's suitable for that size that you enjoy watching, more importantly than something that's just going to eat, but you can't stand that fish being in there. But I'll keep putting some thought into that.
Just picture a 40 breeder with jungle val and like 5 or 6 angels, and then you dump scoops of, ugly guppies in there that you don't want anymore. And they would just hang out in the jungle val and just be snipers. It'd be awesome.
That would look pretty cool. Triple J Aquatic says, how do you feel about the socks full of thistle seed? I'm going to pass that one on to Rack.
I just hung one on my feeding station. If you go to the live, I brought in all the seed feeders except the sock feeder. If you go there right now, you'll see a dark feeding station with a tray and a sock feeder hanging there.
That's very, very cool.
They attract the American goldfinch, arguably one of the most beautiful yard birds you'll ever see.
Oh, very nice. I did not know that. Learning a lot tonight, which is nice.
That's a very inexpensive way to start feeding birds too, the sock feeder.
Amber said the blue Acara would be a good one in a 20-gallon that would feed on the little fry. I'd just be afraid they'd eat everything.
They definitely could. In my experience with the blue Acaras, and they're beautiful, beautiful fish, especially if you get the electric blues. But I think with the big finnage that I typically see, I'm going to turn my gain down because I'm hearing myself from somewhere. But I think that's it. The show is ruined. I heard myself in an echo. No, I'm just kidding. Those could work as long as you get some that aren't too aggressive. And that's the thing with fish is that, I can have an Oscar that's not really aggressive and you can have one that's extremely aggressive. So you never really know until you've kept that fish, kind of watch this attitude and behavior.
Yeah.
I do want to mention, we brought this up at the start of the show. There is a link pinned in the chat. I know that's not something I normally do. And I know sometimes those can be annoying. I don't typically enjoy them when I come into a chat and there's a pinned link. But one of our Fish Fan members, Sandy Dowdy, she works closely with a dog sanctuary that was destroyed by a hurricane. So we've got a link for that GoFundMe there. If you are able to and would like to help support them, that would be very, very much appreciated. So that is why that's there, and that's what you're seeing. I know it's an interesting stream tonight. We're talking birds, and we're trying to help out a dog sanctuary. It's a little different than the usual fish show, but I hope y'all are enjoying it. We've still got 73 people hanging out, so appreciate you all being here.
Rat, have you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead. It's just the Zen. Her question can wait.
Yeah. Okay. Zen. I mean, Rack. Have you ever seen this behavior before? I was watching a crow about a year ago. I've got lots of giant trees, and normally you hear tons of birds in the trees, but the crow would kind of fly to the top, and the whole tree would go silent. And then the crow would go, ah, ah, real loud. And then a baby would start chirping and it would go and grab it and take it off. Have you ever seen that behavior? It was crazy. Yeah. And it would fly right over my head. Like, trying to show me what he got.
Crows are super smart. And they're actually one of the larger birds the kind of, if they want to rob a nest, that's what they're going to do. So when there's enough birds, they'll mob up on a crow and try to scare it off like they will a hawk. But if they're outnumbered and they're outgunned, then it's just maybe we'll just be quiet and he'll go away. Yep.
Yeah, it was just crazy. I wish I had an owl. They're mortal enemies. Did you know that, James? Owls dominate the night, and the crows dominate the day.
I knew the owls dominated the night. Mrs. Fear is a huge owl fan. That's one of the things.
Cool.
Whenever we go to the Knoxville Zoo, we have to go check out the owls because she just loves them so much. And I think that if we were able to, there would be an owl in the house probably. Who knows? Maybe one day. But yeah, absolutely, probably one of my favorite birds. Not one that I get to see very often. Certainly not one that I see all the time here, but definitely love owls.
You can have them. I had a friend that was a falconist, and he always had hawks, but he was always trying to get me to get an owl. And you can go, but you have to hunt in the morning or dusk because of the crows, basically. So,
well, I don't think that's something I need added to my. But I think that's something I can definitely enjoy in other ways. Killer Kitty 08 with the $3 super sticker with that cute little, I'm going to call it a fox. I know it's not a fox, but yes, I'm going to call it a fox. Cute little My Hero Fox sticker there. Thank you so much, Killer Kitty, for the $3 super sticker. It's great to see you. I appreciate you being here. The question from Zen was actually the question I already asked you. I just had not gotten to it yet, so she had posted it again, highlighted for me. Rico Stan says, can you talk about the differences in crows and ravens?
I can.
There you go. I cannot.
They're in a family called the Covids, which the blue jay is also a family member. And around here in the east, we have ravens, crows, fish crows, and blue jays. Very smart. They can learn to talk. The raven is the largest. It's a heavier bird. If you look in a field guide or go online and do a search, comparative search, you'll see that the raven has a much heavier beak. It's just a stronger bird. The way I determine when they're in flight, the difference between the two is the tail of the raven has kind of a diamond shape at the end, and the crow is more just kind of rounded. So it's a diamond, and because if they're just in the blue sky, there's not really a size comparison, but the tail shape is telling. And also the call, which Ed, you did a fantastic crow call there a minute ago. It's more of a caw, really clear. And then the raven will often do a real, it's a guttural clacking, grrr, and it's just a gargle. It'll also do a call, and it's coarser than the crow. So they're superficially similar. Once you start listing the differences, it's a pretty good list of differences. And if you ever are in a museum that houses bird skins and you see the crow and the raven, it's like, wow, how do I ever confuse these? But usually you don't see them together for that direct comparison. So they are sometimes confusing. I would say listen to a couple of recordings of each of their sounds, very distinctive. And then once you know that the difference between the tail shapes, you won't forget that, and it's very easy to tell them apart. And I'll say this, James, you've been doing Fish Room Fever live streams for a long time. I've got a lot of experience with fellow naturalists. I was the chairman for International Amphibian Day. I was a vice president for Tennessee Ornithological Society. Lots and lots of really great opportunities to work with top of the field people. And whenever we would have a meeting, it was much like a round table that you have every week when you have people with a like interest and experiences coming from all over, different size aquarium, different fish, and they share information like this. That's the key to heightening the enjoyment, raising awareness, whatever it is, whatever organism you're celebrating. I just want to say that this exchange of information is greater by volume, participation, and just basic content than any of those posts that I held working with the community of naturalists. So congratulations to you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And again, that's due to this wonderful community that we have.
We do have a wonderful community.
And I think that it's great that, of course, we have other interests besides just fish. Fish are great and we love them. But there are so many other things. A lot of us are overall animal enthusiasts, dogs, cats, birds, horses, all those wonderful things. So it's nice to be able to sit down and share that knowledge and information about something besides just fish, because you can only talk so much about fish all the time, every day, before you want to hear something a little new and refreshing that also kind of plays into your life. Melissa Jeswal, thank you for the $2 super chat. Says Great Blue Heron is her favorite. I'm assuming her favorite, but that was the super chat there. Thank you for that, Melissa. Not necessary, but very, very much appreciated. And I did see something from Paul here that plays back to the previous question. It was about, there it is. Nope, that's Paul talking about mockingbirds. It was in regard to culling the guppies. I will find that, and I'll call that out when I get to it. Blurano Games says, is it just me, or does Ed look like a Cory cat in a good way?
Oh,
I don't know, but Ed loves Cory cats, so I'm sure he'll take that in a good way.
yeah. That's why I bought this shirt, because I'm wearing a Cory cat.
Very nice.
I do love Cory cats. Monica Lynn brought up a good question. She's trying to get me to do Woody Woodpecker. I'm not going to do it. I'd have to practice for a long time. I haven't done that since I was like 10.
Yeah.
But do woodpeckers, do they peep, or do they make any noise? I don't know if I've heard I love watching woodpeckers.
Mm-hmm.
And
They do, Ed. The Downy Woodpecker, which you'll see at my bird feeder every day, makes a sound like a squeaky toy. This one squeeze, squeak, squeak, squeak.
I was going to guess that that's the type of noise they would make. I don't know why.
And they'll also do a rattle. So, yeah, I use this resource called All About Birds, also by Cornell University. And they'll have a picture of the bird, similar birds, and then they'll have a tab that says listen or sounds. And most birds have a call and a song. And then some birds also have a flight call and an alert call.
Do you know why cats make that noise when they see a bird? That weird noise where they shake their jaw?
I don't.
All cats do it when they see a bird or something flying. They go, they shake their jaw. I don't know what that is about. And I figured it had something to do with birds.
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble with the cat people tonight.
Yeah, let's not upset the cat people. So we've got here, right? Paul Stera was saying dwarf cichlids will call guppy fry. And then there was Big City Bettas. Amber's comment about the blue cars. Absolutely. So as long as you can get something in there that's not going to attack the adults and make their life miserable, those are definitely good selections. Alec Kubanoff was saying Exodon paradoxus. Yeah, I don't know if those bucktooth tetras would be a great fit for the adults, sir. I think you're just kidding. I love the Exodons, but I think they take out those adults pretty quickly as well.
What about a pea puff, or not necessarily a pea puffer? That would be kind of torture, but a puffer fish of some sort.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Like
I like where you're
puffer.
going with that. I don't know. We'll have to consult Fantastic Freaks on the puffer, see what he thinks. I saw him hanging out in here. Paul Stero says, mockingbirds try my patience. They try and claim all the feeding stations I have in my yard. So do you have something in particular that tries to overtake your feeding stations there, Rack?
I will say that there's been studies done, and it kind of boils down to the biggest beak wins. But the way, if you look at my bird feeding station, it looks very simple, but the birds have figured out the geometry, and there are places that several birds can get and not be bothered by other birds. So a bird that wants to bully other birds away from the feeding station is going to be very busy and so far unsuccessful. So if that's the benefit of having 4 hanging feeders and a feeding tray versus a single feeding tray, not necessary, but if you have a configuration like that or more, then it makes it difficult for a bird to become dominant.
That makes sense.
But I think it is in the bird's nature, especially during the spring when they're nesting, to chase all the other birds off the feeder. I need all of this food for my family.
This is all mine.
Yes.
Right here. Absolutely. That makes sense. So we've got a super chat here from Bird Garden, $5 super chat. Beards, I love it. Rack, thank you. Didn't have to do that, brother, but I very much appreciate it. I recently got rid of mine. It'd been a while. I'd held on to it because of the YouTube, and I was like, you know what? I want to go back to how I normally do it, shave it low, and then in the winter grow it out, and then shave
I
it
couldn't
back
believe it
down.
when I saw you, James. I couldn't believe that my beard had outgrown yours.
It has.
Well, it couldn't have happened without you cutting it off. So
yeah. Well, it was time for a change, but I appreciate that.
it looks good.
Well,
You got it looking good.
Thank you. I appreciate you very much. There's Paul Steele's comment about the dwarf cichlids. Try and get caught up here. Killer Kitty 08 says, how long should I leave my hummingbird feeders up? 3 hours from Chattanooga in Southwest Virginia. Thank you for giving the location. I'm sure that definitely plays in to the factors
who
there.
said that?
Write that down.
That was Killer Kitty 08.
Killer Kitty 08 is also a master naturalist. And yeah, I think, well, so I leave mine up into October, and then if I attract, this is advanced bird feeding. If you attract an overwintering rufous hummingbird, you're going to have to make sure that your food is there every day and that you don't let it freeze. You put some heat tape on it or a heat lamp, and then you can leave it up over winter and host a hummingbird. But you are responsible for that hummingbird's life when you do that.
Wow.
You need to take some lessons from wherever you can get them, because there are no blooms. There's no nectar for that bird other than what you give it, and it's decided to stay because your feeder's there. So otherwise, I take mine down around October, early October, before the frost, before freeze. Until then, you could get some late migrants. Like right now, there's a lot of hummingbird activity. I saw. Anyway, I don't want to bore you with what I saw. I went bird watching and I saw all of these birds. But the hummingbirds are on the move. Here's Lookout. Come here, Lookie. Come here.
Oh,
Come here. You know Ed. It's Ed. Look, there's Ed and James.
Hey, buddy. What's going on,
You're a
buddy?
good girl. You're a good girl, Lookie. She
So,
just wanted to say hello.
we recently got a dog. We got
What'd you get?
a boxer. I say
Nice.
4 months old, but he is built like a tank. Which is ironically, their mother had said that, and the kids are like, "Yeah, Tank is his name." So I thought about doing a brief trolling video. Check out my new tank.
I had a dog named Sherman for a while. He was like the Sherman tank. Oh wow.
I just lost. But I was reading 4 different things at once and trying to keep up with you. I pulled an Ed. I'm sorry, what? Or I pulled a Bob Steenfot. What did you say?
I grew up in Southwest Virginia. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Killer Kitty.
Well, it's amazing how many people we've got nearby the Tennessee Fish Mafia and surrounding areas. It's a great place.
Hey, speaking of, James, I wanted to do some tie-ins here.
Absolutely.
Ed, I used to go annually to a bird watching festival in your neck of the woods. The Hiwassee Wildlife Refuge is there near Dayton. Dayton was the hub. And we would go look at the sandhill cranes by the thousands over there. Fantastic. So your area, rich in birds. And James, your area there in Knoxville, home of the first state park that is a birding park.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
7 Islands is the 7 Islands Birding State Park.
Okay.
It's set up for birders, well, by the state, but the ornithologist there in the state set that up. And it just goes to show you that birds are everywhere. Birds are important. They not only make your life happier, but they make your community cleaner and richer.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I don't have anything for sale. I'm not profiting, but you get your eye on the ball here, and there's lots of benefits to go around.
Oh, most definitely. It's all tied together.
And so out there at the koi pond, I love great blue herons. I do not want to see one at my koi pond.
Right.
I will turn a sprinkler on that bird.
There you go. I can't say that I blame you.
But speaking of fish, we did have a koi spawn and helped keep my waterfowl all summer. Just now clearing up pea soup, but the water's clear, and I've seen about 12 baby koi. So,
wow.
yeah, we got
That's
baby
awesome.
koi in the pond.
Congrats. That's super cool.
That
Very
is
nice.
awesome. Congratulations on that. Sorry
Thank
it pea souped your water up, but at least
Yeah,
you
me
made
too.
it
That was a
persevered, so.
bummer. Not
We
happy.
got to go check it out.
We do. We need to just, pop up to
Terrible we
Rack's
haven't
house.
done
When are you coming?
I think we missed supper. What are you having for supper tomorrow?
I'll tell you. I'll make a deal with you, James. You're helping me out grow the Bird Garden YouTube channel. Thank you very much for that. I am trying to become monetized. I'm about 150 subscribers short. So let's say when I reach 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to clean out my fish room, and you and Ed can come up and go home with a truckload of stuff you can divide. I've got an accumulation of aquariums, fish, plants, stacks of aquarium equipment, piles of fish food. Let's get the Bird Garden channel to 1,000 subs, and you guys can hit the lottery.
Very
Come
much.
on up, check out the pond, go home with a bunch of fish stuff. It'll be like Aquashella,
Nice.
only better. You won't have to pay anything.
I love that. I appreciate that. Yeah, let's we got you. You're about 872 now.
Holy cow,
subscribers,
you
so
guys are awesome. We were at
making a move.
850-ish when we started. Thank
Yep.
you guys very much.
I've kind of been keeping an eye on that. Also, a huge thank you to the people that have donated to the Dog Sanctuary GoFundMe. I see we've got Delilah did as well as an anonymous. So thank you all for that support. But yeah, that's, definitely part of, aside from the fact that I just enjoyed talking to you, part of why I wanted to have you on here is you are in that grind to 1,000 subscribers. And I'll do anything I could to help. Yeah, I mean, you've been through there. You know how it goes. You got well past that on the Pond Life channel, formerly River Life. So I think we can all appreciate being back in that situation a second time, trying to make that goal, if you will.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen faster now that you guys have pitched in. I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. To steal a saying from a good friend of mine, a very wise man once said, we're just trying to bend the needle toward the good. So
it's a good thing to do. Anytime you have a chance, bend the needle toward the good.
Definitely. I'm going to grab some more super chats and comments real quick here because I know we've only got about 7 minutes before Chattanooga Ed goes live. Fish Tank Barn, good to see you, Mike. Says, just got home from the club meeting and putting the fish away. Good to see Rack. Mike, I appreciate that. Thank you for the $5 super chat, my friend. Looking forward to seeing you in the not too distant future and getting to hang out again. I'm curious to see what fish you brought back from the club meeting. Mike's Aquatics and Things says, how many types of Orioles? I'm assuming, how many types of Orioles are there in total? Again, passing that one on to Rack. Bird Garden here.
Run it by me again.
How many types of Orioles are there? Oh, we lost Ed.
You know what? There are Eastern Orioles and Western Orioles, and I don't know the answer to that question. I have two in my immediate area. I have the Baltimore Oriole and the Orchard Oriole. When I go to Texas, they've got the Hooded Oriole, the Altamira Oriole, Bullock's Oriole.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of them. And they're all, when you start looking at pictures of Orioles, you can Google that. It's amazing. It's a puzzle. Now, where does the black go on this one?
That sounds like a puzzle. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's a swallowtail kite. I know that one.
This is a game that I have had a dream to play with Rack for years. It would be so awesome to play with him, and he could tell us about every bird we get for our bird sanctuary.
I have that game, and I'm very impressed with the information that they've used to put that game together. Overwhelmingly accurate. It's impressive.
Okay, guys, should we test Rack really quick? I'm going to take 5 birds from North America randomly out of the deck and see if he can tell us a little fact or where they're located.
Someone needs to super chat $5 for everyone I miss.
Okay. Well, bam.
Brown pelican.
Nice.
1 for 1. We should quit while I'm ahead.
Well, bam.
That's one of the hummingbirds, maybe black-chinned.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing.
That is.
I mean, there's literally probably 1,500 birds here. Well, bam. This one looks a lot like a lot of birds.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on that one. It's kind of a thrush. Oh, Sprague's pipit. Not around here. Never seen one. Not on my life list. Canvasback.
Oh my gosh. Well, bam. Oh, this is a pretty one.
Indigo bunting.
Man,
He's good. He is
he's
good.
amazing. I gotta play this
All
game
right.
with him.
Absolutely. So Drinkwater had a $3 super chat. Thank you so much for that, Drinkwater. Says, what's y'all's favorite bird of prey? Oh, goodness. I'm not as well versed in the actual names of a lot of birds, but I will say I do really enjoy watching the falcons. I've seen a lot of videos of people going out with their falcons, and I don't know what the technical terminology would be, but where they just kind of send it off and it goes flying and it grabs the prey and returns back. And I really enjoy watching that. I find that very fascinating to be able to witness that behavior from a bird that is somewhat domesticated, if you will.
So, James, I would say look up Google at your convenience kestrel or American kestrel.
Okay.
And that's it's the smallest falcon in North America, but it's very common in your neck of the woods. And you can often see it on power lines by fields.
Very nice.
And if you don't look it up, you'll mark it off in your mind as a mourning dove, something very common. But once you know the difference, it's like, oh, there's another one of those kestrels.
Very, very nice.
What about you, Ed? Your favorite bird of prey?
Okay, well, it's probably a lot of people's, but nothing makes me more excited than when I see a bald eagle.
Yeah. I got to start with bald eagle.
Yeah.
I can't get past bald eagle when I'm asked that question.
See, I had to go somewhere not the standard, if you will. Though I do enjoy them. We actually have some at the Knoxville Zoo. But
Let me see that box cover again, Ed. I said a swallowtail kite. I think it was a scissortail flycatcher.
Oh.
Someone in the chat's going to be all over me about that. That is definitely a flycatcher, not a kite.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How about this sparrow?
That's a chickadee.
Oh, a chickadee.
Probably a Carolina chickadee.
All
That's
right.
one of the owls. There you go.
We've got a few.
I just wanted to say, I grew up, right next to the Mississippi my whole life, pretty much.
Oh, wow.
And so in the wintertime, where the levee or the dam was, there would be probably any given 50 sometimes not gold eagles, but bald eagles. And then there'd be like 3 or 4 gold eagles. And they were so neat because everybody would think they were a baby eagle. And it turned out they were huge. And they were, they were bigger. But when I would come home sometimes and there'd be like an eagle sitting on top of my house. And it was just so cool. I absolutely loved it.
I'm a softy. I'm a patriotic person at heart, and the bald eagle just is really cool. But I don't dislike any of them. They're all special.
Except for blue jays. We hate them.
Ed,
But
you're almost there, Ed. You're so close. That you're spreading FUD about. Are you guys familiar with FUD? You're spreading FUD about the Blue Jays. That's fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
I like that. I like that. FUD.
With their jerk faces.
They can be aggressive and abrasive. It's true.
All right. Well, we're about to run into your time, Ed. We've still got some questions and some super chats I want to grab real quick. Rico Stan says, Cornell is about an hour and a half south of me. Can you ask Rack if there is a pileated woodpecker, or if there are pileated woodpeckers down there? We have one that visits a stump on the property quite often.
I would imagine, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look at a range map before I committed to that, Rico Stan.
Very nice. Blue Rhino Games, you're probably long gone, but I hope you have a great night. I was just saying Blue Rhino's headed out to hit the hay. Drink water, says Fish Room Fever, Bearded Gang, hashtag Rico Stand. Yeah, sorry, I guess I'm hopefully still an honorary member of the Bearded Gang. I know I officially lost my card, but you know.
No, you're still in.
You still got it.
Well, I appreciate that. Let's see, get through here. Patty's Petite Tanks. Good to see you, Patty. Says, does Bird Garden know about Bird Rock in Newfoundland?
No.
Well,
I've heard of it.
Something to look into a little bit more for you.
Yeah, I'd like to go up there and see puffins.
That would be very, very cool.
Yes.
Our buddy Mike with Fish Tank Barn with another $2 super chat says you can only film koi with a unicorn floaty.
Hey,
Yes.
Mike, what's up? I need to get me a unicorn floaty so I can film those koi.
A lot of people enjoyed that short of Mike floating on the unicorn floaty. He was doing underwater filming at Craig Whitstock's place, the pond guy. It was super cool that we got invited out there. But he was, if you didn't know what he was doing, it just looked like he had just given up all hope in life and he was just floating away on a unicorn. He was just being perfectly still because he was filming.
Oh, it's great.
But thank you, Mike, for that. And the pro tip about requiring a unicorn floaty to film those koi correctly. IHSPS. Yeah, I said it right. Tank Tribe with the $1.50 super sticker with the red hearts. Appreciate that very much, IHSPS. Always a pleasure to see you. Sorry, I'm rolling through a little quick here because I don't want to cut into Ed's time too much. Killer Kitty 08, thank you again for another super chat. Says the Pipit Miss, LOL. $5 super chat, just to throw that out there. Very much appreciate you. Our buddy Xanadu with $5 super chat as well says, miss or don't miss, you are all so awesome. So this is why
Xanadu was hanging out on my impromptu live stream after Rico stands, and I don't think I'd met him before.
Xanadu is an awesome guy. Xanadu is a longtime member and supporter of the channel, part of the Fish fam, and has also purchased.
Well, great to know you, Xanadu.
Yeah, Zdu is an awesome guy. So
I call him Xdu.
Yeah, I said Z. I don't know why I always want to do that. It's the I did that the other day in my head. It is, but I started to type it. I'm like, it's an X. Why am I doing that? So, yeah, X2. But let me roll on through here. Fantastic Freaks says, how's it going with the $5 super sticker with that exercise pair? Just a chilling, hanging out. Fantastic. Appreciate you. I almost threw your shirt on tonight, and then I was like, I'm going to do the Rico Stand shirt. But I've got it hanging over here. Thanks again for that. I appreciate you sending it out. And then I think the last thing we're going to grab, because we're a couple minutes into Ed's time, Whip's World, good to see you. It was great to meet you, Aquashella, says, Harpy Eagles, 20-pound bird with a 78-inch wingspan. They're one bad mother. Shut your mouth. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Saw one at the Smithsonian skins collection, and the rear talon was longer than my hand is wide.
Oh, wow. I would not want to have that get a hold of you.
They eat monkeys, and they wait until the monkey has the back turned to them, and they swoop in with that talon, and they insert at the base of the skull. And when you find the monkey skulls beneath the feeding tree, they have scrapes on the inside of the front of their skull. It goes all the way through the brain.
Oh, my goodness.
FYI.
Yeah.
TMI? I don't know.
Yeah, keep your skull away from that one. So I will say in closing, and I'll pass it over to each of you gentlemen for final thoughts, but do me a favor. Not even do me a favor. Do yourself a favor. Go check out the Bird Garden YouTube channel. I think that you'll really get some quality enjoyment out of that, as well as some education. Again, going back to that, bringing that value. If nothing else, you're certainly going to relieve some stress in checking that out.
Promise.
So, as always, Ed, thank you for being my buddy, my pal, and co-host. Rack, thank you for being here. I'll pass it over to you, gentlemen, for final thoughts before we wrap it up and head over to Chattanooga Ed's live stream on the Chattanooga Ed YouTube channel.
Well, Rack, thank you so much for coming. It's always so much fun to hang out with you. We need to hang out in real life and have some fun.
Absolutely.
Maybe we get some pie or something and talk more birds.
Yeah, I like pie.
Or actually go look at, you could train us on how to be professional bird watchers.
We definitely will go birding when you guys come.
I would love to do that.
I've got a couple of pairs of binoculars, so
bring them. Cool. Hey, in closing, I would like to say again, thanks to everybody for tuning in to James and Ed's Fish Room Fever live stream, and for supporting the Bird Garden channel. And a special thank you James and Ed, to your wonderful moderators. I've noticed the support in the chat, and I love you guys. Thanks for all you've done tonight. I didn't get a chance to speak as the chat was rolling, but I noticed all your effort, and I really appreciate that. The Bird Garden channel appreciates you being there. The promise is, if you'll give me a minute or two of your time, I'll give you some relaxation, some enjoyment, maybe some education. So thanks, guys, for having me on.
Absolutely. Thank both of you gentlemen again. And as always, a huge thank you to the moderators, members, the lurkers, the listeners, super chatters and contributors, the questioners, commentators, and of course, the awesome replay crew. I love you guys. You already know where this is going. Until next time, keep your fish healthy, keep yourselves healthy. Don't be afraid to catch your